Hello, everybody. This is Jack Hammer from the Santa Rosa Press Democrat, reporting live from Levi Stadium, where the 49ers wrapped up day 11 of their training camp. Time to take a little bit of a look at that. It was a really good day for a number of players. It's going to be a long list of guys to go through today. Let's get right to it. Before the start of practice today, I asked Kyle Shanahan what he had seen from Trey Lance that met his expectations, or maybe even exceeded his expectations through the first 10 days of camp. And then his response was a little lukewarm. He didn't really come out and say there was anything in particular that stood out. He acknowledged Trey Lance's rough day on Sunday, and that he was looking to see the quarterback bounce back during today's practice. He got that bounce back today and then some, as Lance finished off his day 13 of 17. He had one touchdown and two rushing touchdowns. Let's go through his day. It's going to be a lot of Trey Lance and discussing how his day played out. But he started off hot, right off the get-go. He had Brandon Ayuk for a pair of long gains, and then the third throw was to Deebo Samuel down the right side. On that play, there was a good rush. Defender was right in his face. He was still able to get that out to Samuel on the right side for another long gain. So a really quick start for Lance, hot, making big throws. Came back from that. The offense then moved down into the red zone, and the red zone's been an area that Trey Lance has been very effective. He's been effective in both the times they've done it this year. He was very effective down in that zone last year as well. Today, we saw him hit Deebo Samuel just across the goal line for a touchdown, and he also ran up the middle for another touchdown once he found an open area. The touchdown to Deebo Samuel was interesting in that it was very similar to what we saw from 2019 when the 49ers were coming back. The touchdown to win the game against Pittsburgh that was caught by Dante Pettis. That play was very similar to that. Just a quick little curl just across the goal line, kind of finding that hole in the zone, that soft spot in the defense, and Lance hit him for that touchdown there. The touchdown run that he had was a really nice one in that red zone area, in that he dropped back to pass. He was patient. He looked. There was nothing there. The seas kind of parted with his offensive line, and he just took off right up the middle of the field untouched to get in the end zone for the touchdown. In the red zone, he was 2 of 4, but of those two incompletions, neither one of them was really his fault. One of them was a throwaway to Brandon Ayuk. He had pressure in his face. Nobody was open. He just overthrew Ayuk on purpose, threw it out of bounds, lived to play the next down. The other one was to Juwan Jennings, tight coverage on Jennings. I think some people might have marked that one down as a sack. It was one of those that was close. There was guys all around him. I don't know if anybody really grabbed him, but in a game situation, you might have gotten taken down. But that was over the middle, broken up. Not a bad play on Lance's part. He gave Jennings a chance to catch the ball. Just it was tight coverage there, and the defender was able to knock the ball away. So really good start for Trey Lance there. And as you can tell from his numbers today, it's like this throughout. Next up, after the red zone period, they moved into a move the ball period. And in this situation, the simulated game situation that they put themselves in was the 49ers getting the ball on their own 35. There was 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in the first half, and they were leading by a score of 13-10. The first play of the drive of that session was a zone read, and Lance kept the ball, took off. He just took off down the left sideline, untouched, full speed, nobody around him, sprint all the way down 65 yards for a touchdown. Just a bolt of lightning. Number 5 was down the left sideline. Shanahan, though, decided that he was going to mark the ball at the 40 on the plus side of the 40, so across the 50, in an effort to give the offense more reps. But that was, that was the second touchdown run that Lance had today. So there you've already heard his one touchdown pass, and you've got both of his touchdown runs now. One came in the red zone, and the other was a 65-yard strike. Just the sea kind of parted out there on the outside, and Lance was quick. And that's one of the things last year I've talked a lot about, how I think that Lance is a much better runner on scrambles than on designed runs, but not on that play. On that play, he was off to the races as soon as he saw the opening, and he was gone. Looked really good. From that point, though, like I said, they got the ball in the 40. They marked it at the 40 to get some more snaps for the offense. And from that point, he just marched them right on down the field into the red zone. First play, though, was a run. He got dropped for a loss of 2. The defender broke through. I believe it was Akeem Spence broke through and dropped them for a loss of 2. But then after that, Lance dropped back to pass. He was pressured by Nick Bosa and Alex Barrett. Had to scramble out, and he was able to pick up 7 there, which set up a 3rd and 5. Then they had another designed run for Lance up the middle. That picked up 5, and they moved the change. Now they're at the 30. At the 30-yard line, Lance finds Deebo Samuel for 10. Comes back on the next play, finds Juwan Jennings for 10. So now they're all the way down to the 10-yard line. Deep in the red zone, Lance throws to this left side into the flat to Jeff Wilson Jr. For a pickup of 4, setting up 2nd and goal at the 6. He throws a strike to George Kittle, who it looked like he got in the end zone, but was marked just short, about a yard short is where the referees put it. I think it was a bad spot there. But anyway, they went ahead, and so that made it 3rd and 1. The clock rolling at this point because, remember, there's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Lance spikes the ball. Some people in their stats, I think, today put that down as a throw, even though, I'm not going to count spikes in the throws just because it's not – I understand it's not like it would be in a game. In the game, it would count as a throw. But trying to be a little bit more in terms of like his throws with accuracies and that kind of stuff. And so spikes the ball down. Lance then, after the spike, now you've got 4th and goal. And they went for it anyway. I think they were just trying to get the ball into the end zone there instead of settling for the field goal. And they ran sprint right option. Quarterback gets the ball, sprints out to his right. The receiver up and out. It's a quick out. And Lance tried to hit Juwan Jennings on the right side, just across the goal line. And rookie Samuel Womack was right there, got his hands on the ball, knocked it away, forced an incompletion, and that was the end of the drive. But it was a really nice series of plays. They got themselves down there. In a real game, I think that's a field goal, and they take the field goal and they go up 16-10. But hey, sometimes we've seen Shanahan, gamble in situations like that and go for it. And on that one, it just didn't happen to work out for them at the goal line. It wasn't a bad decision by Trey Lance. It wasn't even a bad throw by Trey Lance. It was just a better play by Sam Womack there. There was a couple of really nice plays on following possessions also that I want to get to. Because they had two more sessions where they tried to move the ball. They weren't going all the way down the field. They were just working on picking up first downs. One first down in a set of plays. They faced 3rd and 22. There had been a sack that dropped them back, and then there had been a run that knocked them back even further. So now they're facing 3rd and 22 from their own 36. Lance gets pressure, steps up, bails out to his right side, and he's running to his right, and again, this is where everybody looks at Trey Lance, and a lot of people think of this guy as a running quarterback. He's not a running quarterback. He can run. He's a quarterback that can run, but he's not a running quarterback. He's not a run-first quarterback. And he slides out to his right. He's running. He's kind of keeps his eyes downfield. He sees from his left side, he sees Brandon Ayuk coming open, fires it to Ayuk, who catches the ball right in front of Talanoa Hufanga, who might have been able to blow him up on that play. Actually, would have blown him up on that play if it was a game situation. I think Ayuk came down with the catch. They converted for the first down. What I like about that with Lance is the movability. He's keeping his eyes downfield, recognizing that it's 3rd and 22, and instead of just taking off and gaining 5, he's buying time, trying to find something down the field where he can pick up the first down, and they did just that. And then the last play that Lance had, this was a really nice one as well. It was 3rd and 8. The 49ers defense showed pressure. Fred Warner showed like he was going to blitz. He actually ends up bailing out. They bring the pressure off of the other side, the left side of the 49ers offense. The pressure gets picked up. Lance stands tall in the pocket and finds Juwan Jennings in the right flat. Jennings has nobody on him because of the coverage that the defense was running and the fact that the pressure didn't get there. Jennings catches the ball in the right flat, turns it up, and it's a gain of about 20, 25 yards down the right sideline. So all in all, just a really strong day for Trey Lance, a really strong day for the 49ers offense in general. At least their starting offense, moving the ball up and down the field today. The touchdown run, they scored, like I said, three scores today for the offense, 2 in the red zone, the long run at the beginning of the move the ball period. Drove it down again. Would have got at least a field goal there, I think. So you're looking at 24 points from the offense today. Really solid possession, solid day for the 49ers, Trey Lance and the rest of that team on the offensive side of the ball. Just to hit up a couple of comments over there I want to hit up. We have Lucas who says, "Hi, Jack. Great to hear Lance had a good day." Yeah, it was really good to see him have a good bounce back day today. Andre Banks says, "Niner gang." And then Howard Blake asks, news on Tariq Castro Fields. not really anything on Castro Fields. He was out there today. He was running with the backups, and we'll get to the secondary in a little bit. Uh, One bit of news that came out today after practice, and Emmanuel Moseley did not participate in practice today. We found out afterwards, after the press conference, that Emmanuel Moseley is dealing with an issue with his hamstring right now, and so he is going to be out of practice for these next couple days. They're hoping that Emmanuel Moseley will be back to practice next week. So Emmanuel Moseley out with a hamstring injury until at least next week at the earliest. Moving off of Trey Lance, though, let's get to Fred Warner. Fred Warner has been a nuisance all throughout the first 11 days of training, 10 days of training camp. Here on day 11, he did it again. Warner stuffed Trey. There was an inside run play. Fred Warner absolutely got in there. He stuffed Trey Sermon in the backfield at the line of scrimmage and then picked him up, lifting him off the ground. Sermon didn't like that. The next thing you know, they're John, and they get separated. There's no pushing or shoving really, but they're definitely getting at each other as far as I don't think Sermon liked getting picked up like that. So Fred Warner definitely keeping his offensive teammates on their toes. And then on the second to last play of the day, Warner read the eyes of Trey Lance, led him right to the ball, and knocked it away before it was able to get to Kyle Juszczyk. Juszczyk was just running a little underneath route. He turned around to get the ball, and here comes Fred Warner from the middle of the field, knocks it down, almost a pick six again. Almost another big play for Fred Warner. So that was his standout moment. And then Nick Bosa, after keeping the 49ers kept Nick Bosa out of team drills for much of the last few days. He hadn't done any team drills on Sunday or Saturday. He did maybe a couple on Friday, but San Francisco let Bosa out to hunt today, and that's what he did. He got Lance, got a sack of Lance, and he was able to collapse the pocket on numerous occasions, just getting after it, just wreaking havoc on the 49ers offense. Nick Bosa, he is in top form right now, and he looks like he's going to have a big year if he stays healthy. Let's get over to Deebo Samuel. Samuel signed that big contract. There's been a little bit of inconsistency between Samuel and Lance, but they got their groove back today. Samuel caught all 3 targets that came his way from Lance, and all went for either a first down or a touchdown. The touchdown, like I said earlier, looked like Dante Pettis' score to win the game against Pittsburgh in 2019 here at Levi's. It was just Samuel getting across the goal line, sitting in the hole, and then Lance just stuck the ball right into him. A really nice throw. It was a really tight window throw. Stuck it on him, though, for the touchdown. It's really good to see the combination of Lance and Samuel starting to come together. That brings us to Brandon Ayuk. You guys have heard this name all offseason, right? Throughout the training camp, especially. A year ago right now, Ayuk was in the doghouse. But he took what he learned from all of that experience, and he's just come out like a house on fire during camp so far. As he's done all throughout the first 10 days, Ayuk caught nearly everything that went his way today. He was targeted 6 times. He caught 4 of those. The only 2 that he didn't catch were a ball that was thrown away from Trey Lance, and then a ball that Nate Sudfeld threw it towards him that was way out in front and low. And when you start to look at it now with Samuel rounding into form and whatnot, the 1-2 punch of Samuel and Ayuk on the outside, that's really going to cause problems for opposing defenses this season. It's exciting to see. It's going to be interesting to watch and see how that all plays out. Hey, Kim, good to see you. Good to have you on board with us. Thank you. Let's get in this to the next one. I want to talk about Nate Sudfeld really quick. Sudfeld didn't have a bad day. It was okay up and down a little bit, but he had a pair of really nice touchdown throws in the red zone. They were really, really nice. The first one was just like kind of layered a beautiful pass to Willie Snead. It was on the right side. Ambry Thomas was in coverage. He was able to get the ball up and over Thomas to Snead right in the corner of the end zone. Snead was able to make the catch, get both feet in bounds for the touchdown. Really nice ball by Sudfeld. A really good job by Snead on the back end with the catch, getting his feet down. And then the very next play was another touchdown from Sudfeld. This time it was to tight end Troy Fumagalli, who beat Jeremiah Gemmel, who was an undrafted rookie for Asian coverage. They got the touchdown in the back of the end zone. Fumagalli was going vertical towards the back corner, or the back towards the back of the end zone, kind of towards the post a little bit. The ball got in there, and it was just a tight one, and it was right over the top of right over the linebacker's shoulders into Fumagalli, and he was able to get both feet down before going out of the back of the end zone for a touchdown. Really, really solid play right there. No, and Howard says, I heard Juwan Jennings keeps dropping passes. We're going to get the well. Juwan Jennings didn't drop passes today, like I talked about earlier. He had a couple. He had a couple of really nice ones. The one at the end to from Trey Lance, and he had another one as well. Juwan Jennings has struggled over about the last week or so. Today he did not struggle. Today was a much better day for Juwan Jennings. Kim says maybe Trey had his best day because Kyle allowed him to be him. No, I don't think that's it. I think that the difference was that today Trey Lance took what was given to him. He made all of the throws. Didn't have any deep shots that he was trying to hit. He was hitting balls. Mostly it was routes that were breaking over the middle. And you could it seemed like Trey Lance was a little more comfortable today. There was one ball, I think might have been the first throw to Ayuk or it was the second one. I don't know exactly. Can't remember if it was first or the second, but you could see him be a little bit more patient, allow Ayuk to get across the field a little bit more. So instead of hitting him right over the middle and trying to force it in between linebackers, he kind of let him clear, and he hit him on that second window, which allowed a big gain after the catch, big run after the catch. So it was just a solid day for Lance all around. Lance is going to be up and down. We know he's going to. I think we're going to see that a little bit here and there. I keep saying, be patient with him. It's okay to say that he's struggling when he's struggling. That's what I was saying. His head coach confirmed it. So what do you want me to say? Kyle Shanahan said that he struggled on Sunday. I said he struggled on Sunday. If you don't like it, I'm not talking to you necessarily, Kim. I'm talking to everybody in general who's making excuses for Trey. Let's see what else we have as far as the defense goes. Already hit on Sam Womack, but Sam Womack, he's just, Sam Womack, he's showed growth and impressed throughout training camp, and it just continued today. He was working with the starting defense, and that route that was run by Juwan Jennings is not an easy one to cover. Jennings has shown the ability. He's really good working edges on defenders, and we've seen him get open on the route that he ran today in that red zone portion. Womack was just able to stick right with them and break up the pass to thwart that long drive by the starting offense. And I really like what I'm seeing out of Womack. He's definitely pressuring, and there's definitely some push and pull there, I think, between Womack and Darqueze Dennard in the slot. And that's good to see. It's good to see those two working and pushing each other. There's something about Womack that makes me think that he's going to win that job sooner rather than later. Some defensive linemen. The defensive lineman that stood out today was Alex Barrett. He had himself a day. He was impressive throughout practice. During one-on-ones, he won a number of reps. He's just so explosive off the line of scrimmage. Barrett's a guy who can play inside. He can play outside. He can rush from either spot. He's not a really big guy. He's a little undersized, but he's just a heck of a pass rusher. And we saw that today. He got a sack of Trey Lance. He was able to pressure him a couple of times. Otherwise, and at this point right now, I would not be surprised at all if we see Barrett make the final roster. Remember, Eric Armstead's dealing with a knee injury. Some of the other veterans that they brought in, Hassan Ridgeway, he's not been practicing right now, so Barrett's been getting some more run, and he's been looking really good on the inside. Charles Omenihu, acquired in a trade last season. Omenihu has that versatility the 49ers love. He can line up inside, he can line up outside. Today he was lined up on the outside and was able to get up into the air and knock down a pass from Nate Sudfeld. He was on the left. He was on the defense's left side, right side of the offense. They tried. It was going to be a quick throw. He was able to get the offensive lineman's hands off of him and just leap up high into the air. I mean, he was high and knocked that pass down for an incompletion. And then that brings us to Kerry Hyder, another one. It's just you're repeating yourself all the time when you talk about this defensive line because it seems to be the case with everybody on the 49ers defensive line. That ability to play both inside and outside, positional versatility, I guess you'd say. Today he was lined up a defensive end against the starting offense. Trey Lance, play action, tried to roll out to his right, and Hyder was right there. He got upfield. He was right in his face. I think it would have been a sack if it was a game situation. I mean, he was right there on top of it. Lance falling backwards, threw it away. And it was nearly picked off by Fred Warner. So it's one of those things where if it's not a sack, the outcome on the other end is almost worse. So, here's the thing about Kerry Hyder, and you all heard me say this, but I'll repeat myself again. The best year of Hyder's career have all come when he's worked with current 49ers defensive line coach Chris Kasarik, whether it was when the two were together in Detroit or 2 years ago here in 2020 with the 49ers. Those are the two best years that Hyder's had in his career. And he's looking pretty strong right now in camp as well with the 49ers again after spending last season up in Seattle as a member of the Seahawks. It's true the second string cornerback held, but at least Lance's passes were catchable. No, I mean, okay. Sure. Yes, they're planning. He had the backups and whatever. He was putting the ball on the money. Today we didn't have the ball flying all over the place like we've had in other practices. So it was a good one. I just wanted to bring that up. I know you guys are talking about it yourselves over there, but I wanted to say, yes, there were a lot of backups. There were both Charvarius Ward only played a couple of snaps during team drills. Other than that, it was Kadar Holman and Darquez Diameter Lenore for the most part that were out there. But it was a solid day for Trey Lance. Forget about all that other stuff. Chris wants to know, hey, Jack, I had Jennings breaking out this year. I'm hoping that his struggles are just him getting back in the grind. Where do you see him finishing this season when this season is over? I think that Jennings, we know what he's capable of. He's just struggling a little bit. He went, it's the dog days of camp. You go up and you go down. Some days you're going to do good. Some days you're going to do bad. Today was an update for him. I think when all's said and done, he's going to be the 49ers number 3. I know, when you look at the way they performed up to this point, Samuel and Ayuk and Ray McLeod have probably been the 3 most productive receivers or best receivers. I know Samuel is working his way back, but we know that Samuel's one of the top 2 receivers on this team regardless. And then I think McLeod was really the next best. But Jennings, it's getting better. He put on a good performance today during team. I would expect him to put up numbers similar to what we saw last year. Maybe not what he did at the end of the year for the whole year, but I would expect for him to have some big catches for the 49ers this year. And then Kid Clientele 19, how is Samuel Womack playing? Just hit on Sam Womack a minute ago. He's really solid. He's been doing a really good job. Today had a big pass breakup in the red zone of a pass from Lance to Juwan Jennings in the red zone on a 4th and goal situation from the 1. Womack's really coming along, pushing for a starting role there in the slot. Just a few more guys I want to hit on really quick before we wrap this up. Jason Poe. I don't think there's a player that's shown more growth this offseason than Jason Poe. He was signed as an undrafted free agent, and he's just continued to get better every practice with every rep. Today, he won the majority of his reps in the one-on-ones against the defense, and he carried that into the team period. I was paying close attention to the offensive line today, and Poe had a number of solid reps during the team drills, held his own as a pass protector, even in the team session, does a good job as a run blocker. He might somehow force his way onto this 53-man roster if he keeps this up, because I think he's one of the better interior offensive linemen that the 49ers have right now, as far as the backups outside of the top 2 in Aaron Banks and Spencer Burford. Thank you. My gosh, Spencer Burford. How could I forget Spencer Burford? My guy. Got to listen to Spencer Burford talk today too after practice. Let's get on to a couple other ones. Jordan Mills. Jordan Mills might not be a name you recognize because he hasn't done a whole lot. He was a veteran free agent tackle that the 49ers just signed a few days ago. And I can say this, he's been last week when he was here, and then over the weekend when he was here, and then today does a very good job in the one-on-ones and pass protection, does a very good job in pass protecting in the team drills as well as he's getting his feet wet in the 49ers offense. He's already a better pass protector than what the 49ers get in Jalen Moore and Justin School. Moore injured right now because of that lower leg injury, and Justin School just continues to get beat rep after rep in one-on-ones. Jeff Wilson Jr. The running back, number 22, first carry of team drills, starts off to the left side. Spencer, he sees the offensive line is getting a good push down the line of scrimmage. Spencer Burford just washes his man from the right guard all the way across, and he cuts it back right off of Burford's hind side. Big gap, big gain down the middle of the field. Jeff Wilson Jr. is looking really solid, and that was a fantastic run out of the veteran, who I think makes this roster. I think he's gonna. It's a competition for that last spot, and I think Jeff Wilson Jr. Ends up on this team. Jordan Mason, the undrafted rookie free agent running back that everybody likes, myself included. He had a splash play today in the run game. It was on a run to the left side. The offensive line did a good job, kind of created a crease, and Mason just zigged and zagged his way through the 40 yards defense for a long gain. I don't even know if he was touched because he went to his left side. You saw him kind of go through. I don't know if he was even touched, and he was up the left sideline for a gain of about 20, 30 yards down the left side. Just a really nice run there from Jordan Mason, who continues to impress. He runs with low pad level, makes himself small in the hole, and just does a really good job of running. I'm really looking forward to watching Mason play against Green Bay on Friday, and then out in he should get a lot of reps in Minnesota because Kyle Shanahan said today they doesn't expect the starters to play much in that game, that most of their reps are going to come during the practice periods with the Vikings, because then they also have that final preseason game only a few days later. Justin School, mentioned him. He's a veteran coming off of an injury that he suffered last year, and he's just been struggling really bad the last couple of days. He's just struggling to block anybody in the one-on-one drills. He's getting beat repeatedly during this portion of practice. Guys are beating him around the edge. Guys are beating him with moves to his inside. It's been rough sledding for the veteran tackle. And then last but not least, Ambry Thomas, second-year player, struggling, man. He's just really having a rough go of it. Today, it was a touchdown catch to Willie Snead, and just seems like on a daily basis we're seeing Ambry Thomas struggle in coverage, and he's got to get it together. I don't know if he makes the roster with the way that he's playing right now. So just kind of looking over to see if there's any questions in the comment section. That's my report for today, but it was a big day. Big day for Trey Lance here in Santa Clara today. 17 of 13 I had him throwing. There might have, the difference there is if you decide that you want to include the spike or not. That's how you can get to 18. Maybe a little bit lower if you want to say that he was sacked more often, but I don't think he was. Solid day for Trey Lance, hitting balls all over the field. A lot of those throws, like I said, play action over the middle of the field. 2 touchdowns in the red zone, one with his arm, one with his legs. And then last but not least, the 65-yard lightning bolt up the left sideline for the touchdown. Quan wants to know how Brandon Ayuk was. Brandon Ayuk has been what Brandon Ayuk has been throughout this training camp. Solid, making plays everywhere. Today he was targeted by Lance 5 times, caught 4 of them. The only one that he didn't catch was a throwaway on purpose where he wasn't trying to hit him. So Ayuk has been very, very solid. Lucas wants to know about Javon Kinlaw and Aaron Banks. Good. Banks and Kinlaw actually matched up a couple of times today during one-on-one pass rush drills. Banks held his own in both cases. He's getting pushed back a little bit, but he's holding up. He's staying between himself and the quarterback and keeping Kinlaw off the quarterback. Solid there for Banks on those reps, and he did a good job today for the most part during their team drills. As far as Javon Kinlaw goes, I would like to see him work an edge a little bit more in his pass rush instead of just bull rushing and driving the man back. I would like to see him work some technique. We know that he's a big, strong guy. We know that he, when he keeps his pad levels down, he can push people back. He can push people around, but you're not going to win very often by bull rushing. So I'd like to see him working the edges, working some other moves a little bit. I think that takes him to another level. And then who is cornerback 3? I don't know on that one. The cornerback 3, Diamador Lenore, Sam Womack. I know they gave Kadar Holman some reps today. Right now, cornerback 3 is a little bit of a crapshoot as to who that would be. I don't know that Holman's been beat quite a bit also this camp, and Lenore's had his ups and downs. He's had some good days. He's had some bad days. Yeah, as far as cornerback 3, that's a really tough one to call. I don't know who that cornerback 3 would be. And when I'm talking about cornerback 3, I'm thinking you're not talking about the nickel, because if you're asking about the nickel's in the nickel, it's a combination. It's a fight between Sam Womack and Darquez Denard. That's what's going on at the nickel spot. But as far as the third cornerback on the outside, that's right now I think a little bit of a crapshoot. Right, we're seeing no Charvarius Ward today, no Emmanuel Mosley for the most part in team drills. We saw the defense take a little bit of a drop off. They really need to have those two guys healthy. You get past those guys, they have some decent depth. Tariq Castro-Fields, I don't think is there yet as far as being able to step into the starting lineup if one of the starters gets hurt. So that's a tough situation over there at the third cornerback spot on the outside for the 49ers right now. It's definitely a work in progress. We'll leave it at that. So that's it for today. That's the report here from Santa Clara. The 49ers had a good, solid day in practice. Big day for Trey Lance. Got that bounce back that Kyle Shanahan was looking for. Got one more practice before they get ready to take on the Green Bay Packers in the first preseason game on Friday. I'll be back up here in Santa Clara tomorrow. Make sure you're tuned into the channel. Usually it's going to be somewhere between around 2:30 is when it's going to be live. But do me a favor before you leave. Hit the like button. Hit that subscribe button. And once you hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell notification. That way you don't miss any of the shows. And you're there all the time and you're able to catch them all. Just want to say thank you to everybody in the comment section that's taking the time. Thank you to all of you who are taking the time to watch this. Really appreciate it. I can't do this without your support. So I appreciate it. Make sure you also get the 49ers.pressdemocrat.com. Make that a favor on your web browser. Check out those reports on a daily basis. Tons of content over there and tons of context as well that all the 49er fans want to see as we go through this preseason in training camp. Take care, everybody. I will be back tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.